But no, it's great. I mean, so you went from, what's your sort of background? How did you sort of get into coaching? Was it the health first? Was it well-being? Was it teach? You said you're a teacher.
So I guess health and well-being, exercise, wellness has run through me like a stick of rock, really. That would, you cut me open, that's written inside, right from a very, very early age, where I played competitive sport for many years.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Interesting, when I first met you, I went away with that in my head. I knew Carey as well-being, health, nutrition. It was just those, and interesting that, and we just that interaction and everything else, and how you go away with that impact, and that's who you are. It is definitely through you. Yeah,
that's funny, isn't it? Because we didn't actually on that day, we didn't have much time, free time to talk, did we? So that's interesting, and I don't know what I said or what, but usually,
and it was an interactive conversation. It wasn't like you were just talking, and it wasn't you standing on a podium or anything and everything, or a soapbox. It's just your essence of who you are, and that's what came out, which is it's really good, actually.
Yeah, I guess, and I can't, as I said, I think that's sort of written through me like a stick of rock. So the natural thing for me was to go into teaching, and I taught phys ed. I taught PE.
Okay.
And did a PGCE in teaching, special needs actually as well, but also PE. And I taught everything from drama and theatre arts, because that was my degree. But very, very quickly became disillusioned with it because of the position of female and girls sports, for a start. I definitely had to fight to get anything noticed in a male dominated PE department wherever I went, and I taught in a number of schools. And even as head of dance, it was nothing compared to the football teams and the rugby teams and everything else. And
has that changed, or is it still the same, do you think?
Do you know, I don't know. I'd have to be in schools, but from what I see from my children and what I know about their PE teachers and their PE staff, and I'm sure I'm doing many a disservice, but I did teach in a number of schools, and I definitely dealt with archetypal male PE types.
Right.
And that was a big reason for me leaving teaching. Right. It was my passion. I went into teaching phys ed because it was everything to me. It's given me the opportunity to travel and really compete at the highest level. And I think I was teaching in some difficult schools as well, and I encountered girls, and it was. I taught boys as well, but definitely girls who were disillusioned, and therefore it was a real slog. Take your tummy stud out, take your nose stud out. Please put some trainers on. Everything was coercing. And so there was a bigger issue at hand, and then I was dealing with also the battle of this equality, really, of female sport, which was very tough. So I walked into the head teacher school of my office of my last school and just said, I told her my reasons, and she said, Carey, I don't blame you. And actually, funnily enough, one of the girls that I'd played international netball with British University's team.
Oh, was that your sport? Was it netball? Was it?
That was my sport. Having said that, I killed myself and I did a bit of everything. So I played county tennis, county hockey. Wow. I loved it all. I did athletics. But netball was the sport which I pursued right the way through university, etc. And we're leaving teaching, as I say, one of the girls I'd played netball with, her husband had a business in London, and she said, Carey, come and work in be their HR department. And I said, I've never worked, I've never worked on a deck. I'm out there on a field, kicking a ball and throwing a ball and soaking wet all year round. And she said, you'd be great, come and do it. And I was thrown into this small business environment where I was the sole... How
did that make you feel, just jumping from teaching into the sort of business world and HR?
It was terrifying because nobody really leaves teaching, because it's one of those things. It's very safe, and what do you do next? To have gone from not even teaching in a classroom, but then to go into an office where I had a computer that I'd never used before. It just, it was the biggest thing, and I was terrified, and everybody told me I was a bit mad. And I became the sole HR person in this business without any qualifications in HR. I did my MVQs up to level 4 while I was in that business, funnily enough. And I managed a function with 50 people and took it to sale. Actually, they sold the business, and they got me in. Little did I know at that point to sort out all the people processes, to get in an automated people system, and to get it ready to sell. And I didn't know that when I came. I was thrown into board meetings. I'd never done anything like that.
What was the thing that made you go for it? As in, what, something must have been attractive about it, or interesting, or something must have resonated.
So it was to deal with people. And I did think that I needed to leave teaching, and I needed to get some different experience. And also, people see you as a teacher. So this was somebody who knew me very well. She knew, I'd go anywhere and cook for 20 people to do whatever. And I'd done that since I was about 18. So she just said, Carey, I know that you'll be able to come in. And I was nervous. And as I said, I was sitting in board meetings and I didn't have a clue, with all men again. But very, very quickly found my feet. I then did my my personnel management qualification. Again, that was at Kingston University. So I was doing my MVQ up to level 4 in learning and development, at the same time as then doing my CIPD qualification. I'm managing everything from, employee relation disputes to putting an appraisal system in. It was really a baptism of fire, but it did me good. And I was interested. I need a challenge. So I guess being out of my depth almost was the real challenge for me, and I loved that. I then went to a business where I was completely within my comfort zone by that time, in a sort of senior HR manager role, but also it was a sort of business partner manager role. And managed areas, my little portfolios, but I became bored and more interested in running projects. So I did, and I was given more and more projects and looking at training and development, which again from my teaching background was of interest to me. And within training and development, it became very clear to me that skills training meant absolutely nothing if you didn't have the attitudinal alignment behind it, and if you didn't have motivated and, most important, employees. And so I changed all the training, and we would do sales training year after year. What a waste of money with the same provider. And we churned out formulaic salespeople, and really they were meant to be very consultative and everything else. And I realized from my own background that when you're motivated and you're a little bit challenged and you're given stretch goals, that your performance is so much better.
Well, it's that whole sort of comfort zone. I mean, I know it's almost cliche, and there's so much talked about on LinkedIn, get outside your comfort zone, but there's a real reason why to do that, isn't it? Because I find for myself, I become really more resourceful, because when I'm out in the limb, I might not know all the skills and know all the knowledge because I'm outside my comfort zone, and it makes you more aware of the situation, makes you more aware of you, and you genuinely, and again, contrived statement here, it does make you grow. It's not about just chucking people in the deep end and just sink or swim mindset. It's that sometimes it can be a gradual, but for me, it's got to come from the person has got to instigate going into that outside the comfort zone. I think it's when people tell you must get out outside, then becomes like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's got to come from them, because they've got to feel that motivation, I guess, isn't it? That's what it goes back to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's certainly right for me. I think, sitting in a function doing the same things and the same training and managing the different issues with employee relations, and then maybe changing structure and that kind of thing, that's all well and good, but I've got to feel that I'm really making a difference.